Alan, Greg, thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here this morning at the UKI and SAP user group because I'm part of the IT community because I'm running SAP at SAP as a CIO. I'd like to share with you the next half an hour a combination of what happened since Jim Harping-Snarver was here a year ago from a strategy point of view, and then also reflecting how we use that internally. And then also especially looking at how we using in-memory technology, HANA technology internally, and also mobility. And if we have time, I would like to show you my iPad, how I use mobility internally, what kind of apps, how I use in-memory, etc., so that you can really get a picture of how my day-to-day life already changed the last 12, 18 months. We talked about this morning already about 3 major trends, and let me share with you what I see. The first of one is the consumerization of IT. The consumer today is also our enterprise user. The consumer has access to state-of-the-art technology in the mobile business, mobile apps, devices. And using that, very simple, easy to access, easy access to information, this kind of user experience, this expectation, he's coming or she's coming into the corporate world. And the CIO, I have 2 choices. I can open up, find a way also to meet this expectation, or wait, and the lines of business will bypass the IT organization. There are a lot of questions is what kind of devices I should enable, how many, what's the secured way, should I allow personal devices, what kind of applications should I focus on? Those are a lot of questions from that perspective. But the key learning, especially being a CIO for SAP with almost 50,000 CIOs in SAP, because everybody is a CIO at SAP, is to watch those consumer trends. Because you can set up the clock that those trends will come into the enterprise world, and then the question is how you deal with that. Second topic is the amount of data and also information is exploding. We heard about that, the unstructured data, the research information is showing us that this amount of data will accelerate, increase by a factor of 44 the next 10 years. So how can I get access to the right information at the right time? Here, I think the hardware, the technology is really helping us to process a lot of information, huge amount of information with the hardware technology, that we can move a lot of data, almost 2-4 terabyte, and we see already machines out there with 30-40 terabytes main memory. And using the power of 64, sometimes we already see server with 300 processors, core processors, that we can parallel this kind of processing. So that's possible. On the other side, we see more and more the possibility to get access over cloud delivery options to make it more easier. If you combine that, I think we're seeing new business model arriving in combining those trends. Definitely, as Ray said, definitely also the unified communication. We as SAP, we are heavily investing in that. With our partner Microsoft, we will have by end of the year over 10,000 ports having this unified communication in place, plus telepresence, etc. But if you combine that, my prediction is it's a very simple comparison. If I ask you how often do you check your email? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I get the response that everybody has time checking email on the BlackBerry, iPhone, etc. We see it already in our corporation, in SAP, a lot of users now, because they have access to information real time in between meetings, to look at their business numbers and see if there is a change. So information at the right time that they need to see if there's any trend and using this for their day-to-day business. So my prediction is in the future, what you do today, looking at your emails, you will do this with your business numbers because you have that available. And then if you have spare time, you will do that. So that's a big change that we already see in our world, and I think it's coming over the next few years. And also from a strategy point of view, as Jim mentioned 12 months ago, I think we see now more and more that looking at the entire stack, the software portion, also looking at my budget, is growing in much higher, faster than the rest of hardware services. Looking at the SAP stack, with in-memory technology, cloud, core, and mobility, I think that's the right sweet spot. What you hear more, and we talked about also today about database, is also database is a topic that we are moving rapidly with HANA and with Sybase ASE. We internally, 2 weeks ago, we implemented the first SAP system on Sybase ASE. And I can tell you that we put our entire service consulting business on that. Means a project portfolio of 1 billion euros is running on that. And the performance number, CPU utilization compared to the previous database, pretty good. So if you ask me what kind of alternatives are out there, I would look into the Sybase ASE as one of the options. So overall, I think what we see, the demand for that is pretty high with over 30% growth over the last 2 quarters. So I think we see here that the stack of innovation is driving also business up. So let me go back to what Jim mentioned 12 months ago, starting with the core business. Over 123 innovations are announced a few weeks ago, including what already available with the enhancement packs 4 and 5. I think there's a way really to get this kind of information in a very non-disruptive way. Internally, we moved our internal system, all of the latest enhancement packs. Experiences on the ERP side were very good. We had some challenges on the ERP side, but we tried to funnel back those kind of experiences and back to the development organization. You heard about the NetWeaver 7.31 available, absolutely necessary if you move into the memory technology to use this on top of HANA. 7.3 on HANA, 1.0 Service Pack 3. Business Object BI 4.0 also, something that is now available. We are also heavily user of that. We're one of the first customer, ramp-up customer. We're using this, and you will see also the outcome, the mobility front end based on that also available. What happened here the last few weeks is that we came up with a new strategy which helps me also to, first of all, protect investments. Maintenance is now available for the business suite until 2020. So long-term commitments and protection of the investment is absolutely necessary if I see an amount of investment in the existing SAP infrastructure. Second is, what I'm also excited is that we see more quarterly new functionality, new innovation every quarter in a different way from a delivery possibility, and then also we have the chance to do adaptive selection. That means together with the business, we pick and choose what kind of functionality will be implemented internally. It really fits to what we see internally from an agile Scrum perspective. I'm getting more and more requirements to change project delivery instead of 6-9 months into a 60-90-day sprint. So this kind of functionality coming up every quarter will help me also to bring more value and functionality to the business users. The other component of the strategy is really to combine this with breakthrough innovation on the mobility, on the in-memory side and cloud side. So you will see more innovation on the core side, combining with this kind of innovations. Plus, I think the continuous innovation on the TCO side, that means simplification of the landscape, which is also something that I'm looking at to simplify our environment, cost efficiency, etc. And then also more investments in the user experience. And that's something that I'm also very keen on, to see improvements on the HCM side, on the SAM side, on the procurement side, because those are the systems that are heavily used by over 70,000 users within SAP. And looking at our internal user satisfaction surveys, I think the usability, especially of the consumer side, is becoming one of the number one topics on the user side. Plus also, we are part of the Customer Connect program, factoring in our experience, our requirements, how we want to see more functionality develop. And the idea place, something that my organization developed, helps us also to, everybody can funnel in their requirements and have more visibility how this gets selected. So definitely the core is really the heart of also the business. I have to say, after 2 years with SAP, without having that core in place, especially with simplified and standardized, the level of innovation on mobility and memory side, the speed to implement that and to innovate helps us a lot to be very aggressive on the innovation side. Without that, there would be a step in between to consolidate on the regional and global level. That's not anymore the case. Moving on to the cloud side, I think we heard about BYD is catching up from a user perspective, 2.5 available, 3.0 delivered with the subsidy support. Over 650 companies are using that. And there's more to come with new releases next year. So it's really becoming running like a clock development, every year 2 releases. You heard about Sales on Demand. We are also using this internally. We have a user group heavily using that in Germany on the sales side. Very good feedback because it's really customer and sales people oriented user interface interacting there, very much aware of what's going on in the team. So that's something that we will invest more in 2012. SAP Store also available the last few weeks. My team was heavily involved in the back-end integration for the whole order processing. Something definitely we will invest more, especially from a user end perspective. I think more in moving into HTML5. That's something that we already committed in the next 12 months. What else is coming? We are also a pilot user or co-innovation user on the Career on Demand. Also from a user front and very easy to use, employee-centric integration with LinkedIn. So over 25 customers already part of this co-innovation, and I think you will see a lot the next 6 months. I think middle of next year, the system will be ready. So something that we also heavily invest, plus the integration of those lines of business solution with our business suite. Moving on into the Sybase and mobility environment, you heard that the platform to connect different devices and backend system, the Sybase Unwired Platform 2.1, is available for us also internally, very important. Why is that? With that, the single sign-on capability is available. We don't have for our 17,000 users anymore password and user IDs here, so having that capability in place is absolutely important. We have over 25 applications available. There are 20, 30 more coming by end of the year. And you see a massive explosion also on the partner solution side, which I will also demonstrate in a minute. So there's much more coming for next year. It's already in the roadmap. So exciting stuff from an industry's perspective, functionality, and also the whole mobile analytics stuff there's much more to come. And I also will show you something that is available in the next 3 months here with my iPad in a few minutes. HANA side, HANA 1.0 since June, July, available general availability. My team was already involved in that 12 months ago. In June, July 2010, we start the first implementation internally with a proof of concept, and we went live at Sapphire with the 1.0 version. At the same time, also the Business Suite Accelerator, the COPA, that means the profitability calculation, is available. Also something that we internally also implemented. BW on HANA, 7.3 BW on HANA, something really big. Also, I will share with you what we did internally. So there's much more coming, especially on the HANA application side for next year, for 2012. So overall, I think it's important that this kind of solution functional are wrapped up per industries with the rapid development solution. So we are also using heavily internally now this kind of packaging because it gives us a better timing, accelerated implementation time for those kind of implementation. Instead of months, we're talking about more weeks here. So let me talk about what exactly we did in the in-memory and mobility area at SAP. So before I do that, a little bit more information about how we run from an organization point of view. We have to serve over 70,000 users in 70 countries, 250 locations. So it's a pretty large footprint. The advantage that I see is coming to SAP is that all the business critical systems are centralized and running out of one location. That means we have one ERP system, the latest version, HCM, 54 payrolls globally, SIM, CM with over 14,000 users, one corporate business warehouse, etc. So it helps really have all information in one place and is also helping us to connect to new innovations like on the mobility and memory side. On the other side, I fully agree with Ray that that's not enough to be successful as a CIO in a large corporation, high-tech industry like SAP. So running innovation to figure out what kind of new technology is out there, how to adapt, and how can we bring this closer to the business and generate a value, I think that's a must-do today for a CIO. So we did in the last 2 years a lot of proof of concept, quick checks within 6, 8, 10 weeks if a technology is ready, can use that, implementing proof of concept, especially in the memory area and mobility area, and use this information to drive the future project portfolio. So that's something that I also recommend is looking into those opportunities to figure out if there's an opportunity, and the CIO should be in the driver's seat in driving this kind of discussion. So let me explain a little bit more, looking at the innovation, what we do in the in-memory space. And I got a lot of questions, what's the roadmap, what are the next steps, etc. And I'm using this roadmap really to internally, not externally, to visualize where we are. The first step, which is really from a non-disruptive perspective, is the side-by-side approach. So we moved our entire CRM database or information out of the CRM system. As you 14,000 users, 3 terabytes of information into the HANA information in the HANA appliance 1.0, and use this information to deep dive into our sales pipeline globally real time. The second step that we already also finished is, like other customers like Red Bull, we set up a new corporate business warehouse on BW73. We did this over the summertime, and in August, September, we moved then the entire BW on HANA SP3. So what we already see here is that the performance improvements are very much in loading data into the corporate warehouse, processing of that, the non-existence of InfoCubes. So you're moving away from information cubes and virtualizing that, and gives you the flexibility of accessing information instead of going back to the IT department, figuring out where is my additional information, what kind of backend system I have to extract data, change the information cube, change the reporting. All information sits then into the HANA appliance. That's step 2. Step 3 is the usage of HANA application, native written on top of HANA. That means they can utilize fully the benefits in moving data into the main memory, and then also parallelizing the whole processing utilizing the 64 core processors, or as we do, we have machines with 300 and more. So that's the power of hardware and software from that perspective. You could ask, what's the next step? Will be HANA the platform for the ERP system? Definitely. I think this will happen over the next few years. Teams are already working on that. But again, the synchronization or the playing together between the software side, changing the software, utilizing also the hardware functionality is important to get the maximum performance and flexibility out of that. Because moving data into memory gives you a factor 10 plus. Combining this with parallelizing this kind of processing gives you a factor 100, even more, as we saw at Sapphire and Madrid. So that's something I think this will come together over the next few years. Let me deep dive into what happened with our first scenario out of 8 scenarios that we are already working internally in respect to HANA. The first one, we moved the entire sales pipeline of SAP. Almost 1 billion opportunities, 700 million historical data, 7 years historical history. It took us usually 4 or 5 hours to get information about where's my business, especially if you run a sales force over 4,000 people globally, running an institutional business to the quarter end. So not everybody was up to date what's going on. The level of information was limited, not on the lowest level, on the opportunity level, so driving a jumbo jet with limited navigation system. So now with all information in the HANA appliance and real-time replication using the SLT functionality, all information for all the users are always up to date. And I have the flexibility, if I need more information or different views, I can do this very rapidly with the HANA functionality, the modular functionality. And what we see also as a key change is that with the mobile front end, accessing that information is very easy. So the consumption of information with the mobile device is changing rapidly because I have updated information and it takes me 3-5 clicks to get to that information, and I can do this in between meetings or during meetings. The next wave, what we see is that we will use the historical data. We have already a successful proof of concept for 2010 so that we look back what information is available in respect to product, customers, sales cycle, region, and see if there's a correlation plus external data. Is the forecast of opportunities sufficient to meet my sales targets? So in the future, the sales organization will get another data point, proof point, is my activity, are the activities to get reaching the revenue growth or revenue targets, is that enough? So I will see that this historical data information can be utilized also real time for any decision making to drive your business. Second scenario, which is part also of a co-innovation with the development organization, is this SAP COP Accelerator. So it takes us, for us, in the quarter end processing around about 28 hours to do profitability calculation. It's done in 4 cycles with the finance organization, a lot of reconciliation. There's a risk that we need more time than 28 hours. The level of profitability information is limited. So we put a HANA database aside to the DB2 database. And so we were able to optimize that since end of October to optimize this whole calculation to around about 4 hours. I think there's more potential, definitely, but it's a combination of optimizing business processes and speeding up the calculation, especially during a time that you don't want to lose time or minimizing the risk. And this functionality, based on our input, etc., is now also available as a rapid deployment RDS solution and in the area of COP HANA. This is something that we see a lot of customers also now adapting because it minimizes the risk, optimizes business processes. So again, another example that going into that learning curve can be very easy, non-disruptive, and you build up knowledge for future roadmaps and portfolios. Let me move on how we drive the mobility business. I'm getting a lot of questions, Oliver. Now, what should I do? What kind of devices should I implement? What are the software to do that? And my answer in general is look at this mobility business, something that you have to drive from a mobile strategy perspective. It has multiple dimensions, not only from a device perspective, that a CIO has to keep in mind. And let me walk you through the different dimensions. The first dimension is the device and the device management. This is the number one topic that we faced since beginning of 2010 because we start implementing or setting up the infrastructure for iPads in February 2010. We were ready in May 2010. Is what kind of devices you want to support going forward? Is there a software out there that you drive a device agnostic approach? And what is the software out there really to help you to manage the entire cycle? From configuration, deployment, monitoring, management, security breaches, to removing devices from the network and decommission of that. So defining that is absolutely important, what kind of devices you're managing, how you're flexible in the future, and how you manage the security and the deployment like a PC and laptop deployment. If you manage that, the second step is how you have to change your application management, the way how you develop application. We're not talking anymore about 6-9 months deployment or development cycles. We're talking about 60 to 90 days. So there is a shift already in my organization to more Scrum, Agile, more business involvement in those apps. On the other side, it has an impact on your governance structure, on the project lifecycle, on testing, and also compliance, because vendors like Apple require you more testing, looking at the source code to be in compliance with the Apple Master Agreement before you put something out there in the App Store. The third dimension is the application roadmap. After you managed the availability of devices, what are the steps? What are the next steps? What kind of application you offer with your team? So interaction with the business to have a 6 to 12 months roadmap available is important. Especially with the high expectations, something should be available soon. So identification of quick wins. And in our case, the mobile BI, the business intelligence was our quick win. And what are the next steps over the next 12 months? It's important to define that. The last dimension that I want to touch is also the architecture. Because we move away, or we're already moving away from one application, one device, is what are the platforms, and the Cyber Unbiased platform is one of the choices, is how can you support multiple devices and different back-end connectivities like SAP, like IBM, Microsoft, or Oracle. In all of the cases, the security topic is the security team is heavily involved in the project, let's say right at the beginning. Because if you go for a 60 to 90 days sprint, the IT team, the security team has to be involved to define testing, requirements, penetration testing. If not, it will bump up the development timeline significantly. So security is absolutely a key factor, especially in Europe, also from a data privacy point of view. Plus the governance structure, we have defined with our business that we have a fast track for this kind of innovation project, that we want to do a proof concept, etc. And then if you go to a more mass deployment, we put this in the normal project lifecycle or the governance structure. So overall, looking at our penetration, we have already over 11,000 iPads deployed, fully automated. We don't touch the iPad anymore. So it's in the moment it will get activated, the configuration is downloaded. And plus on that, on top of that, we have 5,000 iPhone also using the same software. From a software, Cybis Afaria, we're also able to now managing Android devices. especially Samsung Android devices, we are ready to go. I think it looks like that the legal challenges between Apple and Samsung will be solved in the next few weeks, or let's say Samsung is coming up with new devices. So I think we are moving into that direction. On the other side, the adoption of Android devices in the enterprise business is pretty slow compared to the Apple devices because the level of standardization is totally different. Apple, you have 90 APIs on the operating system to manage them remotely. On the Android side, it's really depending on the device maker. So you have to, with Safari, you do a handshake every time with the device maker. Sometimes it differs by model to model. So if there are new consumer devices out there, it takes a little bit time to bring this in the corporate environment. Definitely we'll look into the Windows 8 phone next year, something, I think the line between business and consumer will blur. From my point of view, I think that's something we will look into. But overall, I think we are the third largest deployment of iPads. We are able now to deploy a huge amount of devices, we did this in the summertime, 3,000 devices for the entire sales organization in 4 weeks. And we start also open up our environment for personal devices. It's a huge effort. We start doing this preparation a year ago, and we realized we have to do this by region, by country, because there is a business work stream, HR, tax, etc., legal, and then the infrastructure which we have in place with the Cyber Safari platform to manage also personal devices. So we open up that in Asia, in North America. We have almost 400 devices deployed, or personal devices already managed by that. And so the employee has to sign up a consent form, and at that moment we manage the entire device. Let me explain a little bit about the whole deployment process. Everything can be then ordered through our shopping system, our SRM system, and then get deployed globally. We have the logistic now in place, like a PC or laptop deployment. And the moment the user gets the devices, there's everything he can self-activate, the profile, network, VPN, email, everything gets downloaded in a secured way. And then the user has then access to the mobile app store, can download additional apps, and I will show this also in a few minutes. Plus, what we also learned is we moved away to beef up our first level support. Having a self-service WebPoint 2.0 wiki support is absolutely critical to train the user to go first to central information and get this information instead of beefing up this support organization. Absolutely necessary. Overall, I think looking at the roadmap as part of the mobile strategy dimension is having a roadmap in place is absolutely critical. What I did here is also you can define the roadmap in different dimensions. I have a view also that we started with very simple application, which is the office productivity. Business analytics is the number one use case as a quick win. If you have business objects in place, moving dashboards, reports on the iPad, it takes only a few days because the Business Explorer mobile frontends are available. The second then is more into more workflows. The other view is more user group oriented. To say, looking at all employees, very simple, basic productivity, simple transaction like travel expense, time capturing, and then moving up the food chain, business users, more business scenarios like CRM, resource management, approvals on the decision-making side, and executives' dashboards looking at the top. So that's important to keep this in mind, this kind of road mapping. What are the quick wins? What's necessary in the next 6, 12 months, 18 months, together with the business, looking at the different user group to satisfy their need. But what I'm saying, mobility is not all about executives. It's not all about mobile workforce. It's also about people in the office using mobile devices. So I love to share with you what I use internally. From retail analytics, the App Store, news, CRM, and then also workflows. So let me switch to my iPad. So first, I want to give you an insight about mobile app store within the company. So you have, what you can see here is now I get access to the Afaria. I'm setting up connectivity right now to the corporate network. What a user can download here, depending on different categories, sales-related, BI analytics, industry-specific, HR-related, conceptual, and then employee in general, depending on the user group. And you see this amount of apps are already available. And I can go into that and pick and choose as a user what I like to download. This kind of selection can be defined by policy, by user group, and then provide the choices to the different group. And then I can go in there and can easily install an app, and I click there, and then within less than a minute, I have this application ready to go on my iPad. That's the second step. This step one, and we heard about the App Store. There's a mobile front end called Mobile Apps of SAP that you can pick and choose as an administrator what kind of mobile apps can be deployed in your company, and then move this information or these mobile apps into the Afaria mobile app store. So here we have choices here by finance, HR, manufacturing, marketing, and those apps are available. Interesting is also all partners apps here are already, as Ray mentioned, also available on the apps, the SAP store. That's step one. Step two is looking at the whole workplace of a CIO. The second step is get information, what's going on in the company. So we developed for the sales organization. Oh, I'm offline. Organization, a kind of pulse flipboard for the employees internally. So there are different news feeds, internal social media, events, depending on I'm in service or solutioning. I will get customized information by region or industries that I'm working in, or by the region that I'm working. So depending on that, I can change this to, for example, North America. Depending on that, all information are now customized to the user group working in solution in North America. Step three, as I mentioned before, is the whole analytics. And I want to give you 3 examples how does it work also with big data. I want to give you access to the entire sales pipeline of SAP. So I have here selection choices to go to a different HANA server, different reporting engine, and let me go into production. Let me see if in the corporate network. No, I'm not. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm in. So now I have access, as I mentioned before, to the entire sales pipeline plus 7 years historical data of SAP, and can dig into the lowest level of information. Looks like I have some connectivity issues here. Here we are. So that means I have access to all the historical data, current years, quarters, region, sub-region, industries, products, life cycle status, and also opportunity. Let me go for everything 2010 because I don't want to show you the 2011, 12 numbers. I love to do that. I could also verify with you the 600 million HANA pipeline on the lowest level down to region customer, but I cannot from a compliance perspective. So I want to see what's the business suite revenue 2010. I can go down now to expected quarter, I can go down to the region, the industries. Can change this to 10. See, this is pretty simple to go through. I can enhance this to 15 in a minute and share this information with my peers over email, for example. So it gives you indication I can drill down as an executive to the lowest level opportunity. I talked to Steve about his business the next 4 weeks. So this kind of information, I was able, as a non-salesperson, to do this in 30 seconds, to drill down and see if there's a change. So this has already been used to see if there's a shift in the book of business, etc., because all information, everybody uses the same information platform. The second way how to access information is called Business Objects Experience. This is a new name. This will be part of, it's already available on the App Store, the iTunes App Store, and SAP Store in connectivity with BI 4.0 SP3. So what you can do is you combine different views and reports into a presentation. So I have all my reports, my CIO dashboards, in that way that views on numbers of service, incidents, customer satisfaction, positive call closure. So I can flip through that in front of my management team, lines of business, like a presentation. And if necessary, I can go on the lowest level and set up filters and get real-time updates. So that's a new way to access information, easy to consume, but if necessary, have the flexibility to look at the information from different angles. So I can do this for Apple devices, for example, to see how many devices we have in different regions, what kind of configuration, those information gets updated. And I have the same also on sustainability, about our carbon footprint, usage in different by cars, by flights, etc. And I also can see this by a world map, what's going on there. Again, this is a different way how to access information and consume them and make use this at the right time. The next level, this is more customized to the executives, is called Business Objects Mobile BI. Bill McDermott and the executives are heavily using because there's a lot of information very focused on, like here on the forecasting, on productivity. There more information are displayable. There may be 2 or 3 choices from looking at this information. And most of the cases, those are web reports that are being published on the iPad or iPhone. Next example that I'd like to share with you is something we did together with a partner called iPeople. So we have now a total overview about the IT organization, 32 parameters, KPIs available to look at the state of the union of an organization. You see, my organization, according to German law, we cannot publish the pictures. Everybody has to agree to that, but this will happen pretty soon. And I can drill down on the next level of organization, and depending on that, I can change these parameters and everything gets updated, or I go more on the detail level and get all the information here. Again, all information that I need going to a team meeting to see is there attrition, is there some issues from a diversity point of view, and I can address this within seconds. The last topic that I'd like to share with you is the whole workflow-related employee productivity tools. We talked about travel expense management, shopping carts that you can display. I want to share with you one thing that we did. It's also the whole opportunity management for our sales organization. 4,000 people are using this on the iPhone, iPad, and BlackBerry, accessing there the opportunities, contacts, account information. So they're always up to date before they go to a customer. Plus, what they get also beginning of first, second quarter next year is a combination of CRM and what kind of external information is available. So I can define customer. I'm looking here at SAP, that I have information about the profile, what are the key peoples, what are the relationships, who's involved in that, what are the opportunities. So it's a combination of CM information plus also about historical information, news, about different news channels that I can go into. And so if I'm an account officer, I have all information going to a customer event. I have all information at hand. I can get information about external information about this company at fingertips. Again, only indication what are the next level of application. As Ray said, more interaction, more intuitive, easy to access, easy to consume. Let me wrap up my presentation with a summary. We can switch to the presentation, back to the presentation. Again, my recommendation, looking at the in-memory, I think it will change how we do processing over the next few years, starting with the side-by-side project to gain experiences. I think it's important. It is a change in paradigm from speed, flexibility perspective. And my prediction is it will become a standard real-time access of real-time information, become a standard like reading your email today. Mobility is the new desktop. I think my recommendation be in the leading front as a CIO, as a head of IT organization, driving that business, driving the mobility agenda of a company. There are choices for business users to bypass the IT organization very easily. Focus first on devices, device management, security, leveraging Cyber as a quick win, plus also the mobility in respect. If you have business objects implemented, you can easily use this as a quick win. Love to stay in contact with you. I'm heavily a user of Twitter. Over 3,000 folks are following me on Twitter, SAP CIO, or on the blog, SAP runs SAP blog, sap.com/CIO. Happy to stay in contact, provide you more information, also deep dive with my teams if necessary. Thank you so much.